Are you looking to expand your mind? Do you like to challenge and be challenged? Looking to improve yourself and share your experiences professionally and personally? You're in the right place. Welcome to Scoutcast, Roasting Marshmallows, with your host, Rolf Surd.
And hello and welcome everyone to our new Roasting Marshmallows podcast. Your host today is Panchi Gasztejowski, and something happened. Our regular host, Rolf Surd, has been incapacitated due to a child's birthday today, so he's not able to join us. And in his place, I will be guiding you through today's topic. What is today's topics, guys? My culture is better than your culture. So we hope to insult quite a lot of people with this one. Today we have my resident colleagues Enrique and Arno with me today, and we have our external guest Ankita. Welcome, Ankita, to our podcast.
Thank you.
Maybe you can introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah, sure. I'm Ankita. I'm from India. I'm 31 years old, and I moved to Amsterdam almost 2 years back. I've been working in the IT domain for around 10 years now. Not finished 10 years, but nearing that. That's quite long. But born and brought up in India, lived there, studied there, and then decided to move here. And it would be nice to discuss the cultural differences, what I felt after moving here. I don't know what else to add, but
All right.
I hope I added enough.
Well, we'll hear more about you, I think, during the podcast. I'm curious, Enrique, before the podcast, you were mentioning that you have like a really, really killer introduction about yourself. So I would really like to hear it.
Yeah, and I want to hear it as well.
All right. Sounds good. So, I'm from Paradise, basically. And we are officially, we are officially voted as the coolest nation on earth. And that's called Brazil, for the ones that had a doubt. And I used to live in the place where you go to spend your holidays. And I'm from Brazil. And I have a lot of different cultural shocks, I would say. And but after living 10 years in Holland, I think it's maybe I'm become a bit more Dutch than I would like to.
So let's just repeat for those who didn't get it. You're from Brazil.
Yes.
The coolest,
Right.
the,
The best
coolest
one,
place.
The best country ever.
Yes.
And
I think,
the best culture, right?
Okay, hope the Argentinians are not listening on this one.
I mean, they are not even a culture, man. Like those guys. It's,
Okay, it's funny.
And Arno, do you have an intro for yourself?
Well, I do have an intro. So I'm Arno. I'm the Dutch guy here. I think I live in the coolest country, and my reasoning is you guys also live here. So I think your argument is a bit flawed here and there. And
you have a point.
one of the cultural differences where to start with is that I have I worked 32 hours. So I have one official dad day, and I think that's something doesn't happen that much in other countries. So that might be interesting
That's very true.
to look at.
And do you think that make your culture better than ours?
Well, not just that. There's way more.
That allow-
There's way more than that.
What do you mean, like your lunch, for example, is better than ours?
Our lunch,
Your Dutch
We're
cultural
already going
cuisine.
cuisine,
into it.
Dutch cuisine, it's the best. I think everybody that's Dutch would agree with me.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, maybe. But how about you, Pancho? You coming from a country that nobody really knows, so
That's quite interesting because I just had a talk with somebody I met earlier today for the first time that I spoke, and then that person knew quite a lot about my country, what it originally came from, that it was part of Yugoslavia. I was quite baffled. So it's like, oh, well, that's a pretty good one. But generally, if I tell people that I come originally from Macedonia, and this was especially happening in the times when I was living in the US, there was like, oh, where is that? Oh, is that a salad? Or something like that. At some point, they even got a question. It's like, do you even have cars there?
wow.
And? Do
Yeah,
they?
and to which I actually responded. No cars.
Okay.
No, we don't. It's like, oh, what do you mean? Man, cars is a very primitive way of transportation for us, and we generally float on discs around where we need to go.
Yeah, but I
It's
gotta
like
be
at
honest.
least you're
Mind you, this
asked-
was some 20 years ago.
At least you're asked if there are cars on road. We are asked if there are elephants on road, man. So people are
think
curious
it's
about
actually pretty
that
cool,
more
though.
than whether we have cars or not. So
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest.
So yeah, Hick, it's
I gotta be honest a little bit. I had to Google Macedonia when you joined us. I'm like, where the hell is that?
yeah, true.
So-
Well, Ankita just mentioned that she had worked with another Macedonian in the past, so it's like it's not that rare.
yeah,
Well-
yeah. The other thing that I got to know, because we kind of are. I mean, I was not aware of the whole new countries being formed, but when I got to know the country was formed like almost 30 years ago, that's quite fascinating. When I'm not sure whether that's true or not, but yeah, that's what I was told by another Macedonian. So, but yeah, that kind of
Traitor.
changes.
That other Macedonian was a traitor.
Sorry.
That other Macedonian was a traitor.
Hmm.
Have you heard of Alexander the Great and his actually empire that reached India and fought elephants in India?
Yeah, man. Everybody saw the movie.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's
Well,
that's actually partially it's partially true. As an independent country in this form that it is right now, it's actually established it was in the beginning of the 90s. So yeah, it's kind of true.
Yeah, so when you're born, you're actually from another country then.
Actually, yes, I was born in Yugoslavia, and for instance, this star that's behind me, it's sort of representation and kind of resemblance of that time.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia being a socialist country, and the star used to be also the emblem of the partisans in the Second World War. And there was this cool designer that I came across in Macedonia who takes old Yugoslavian designs and kind of makes something with it. And I thought, oh, this kind of seems fitting. So originally, yes, I was born in a country that no longer exists.
So a bit deviating from the
I'm actually
subject,
used to-
but do they hate each other as well? Because I've been to Croatia and there was some sort of messiness with Serbia there. Is that also the same for Macedonia?
Well, are we really gonna do that?
Okay, that's a separate
that kind of
podcast. Let's
conversation?
continue.
I mean, I think that's a separate podcast, but I mean, hate. It's like
Well, it felt like that there. The people I
no.
spoke to,
Well,
like,
but then
Rivalry, right? It's just
it depends
like
also
kind of
who
the same.
you ask. Like for instance, if we look at like Brazil and Argentina rivalries, yeah, they're there. But one of the best friends of Henrique is Argentinian, so it's like, hey,
Hey, don't tell this. He's
No.
gonna believe that. Man.
yeah, but maybe he's not even listening. So
Okay,
Manu,
so
this is not for you. It's for somebody else.
so if we bring back to the your culture sucks, mine is best kind of the point of view, right? I would like you guys to make a point why do you think your culture is great.
okay, we need to think about this based on the silence. So I think you should go first.
Yeah, well, you've probably thought about this, so you should.
Yes. Okay. So what I think about the Brazilian culture is great is the fact that I think they are extremely friendly, right? Like I experienced a lot of international expats, people coming to Brazil before I actually moved to Holland, and they are received like they are, they are like friends forever, And if people basically cannot speak Portuguese, they will make the crazy effort to try to understand you, try to accommodate you, to try to bring you to the best places. They will really bring you to make you feel at home. And they are very proud of the culture itself. So they want you to experiment everything. And yeah, I think they are extremely friendly, what makes the culture pretty nice. And I think in general, people are extremely helpful. If you actually ask for anything, you're probably gonna get what you are asking for. So I think that's why I like about the Brazilian culture, my culture. And I think people are also, they don't take things too serious. So everything is a reason for a joke. And I think it's way more lighted mood, there is no subject that we cannot talk about. Of course, that's the perception for the part of Brazil I'm come from. But that's why I think Brazil is a great
That's
culture.
quite interesting because I can relate to some of that. But I know a question for you because you said, okay, for everybody who has been to Brazil, they get treated like that. Is that treatment only for expats or also for other Brazilians?
So I think it's a good question. Like, for example, I born in a capital, right? Like, but my parents, they come from the countryside. And if you actually go to the countryside and you are from the capital, you are treated also like nicely, And if you actually visit like poor areas, or I think people tend to treat you also very friendly.
Yeah.
And I think it happens also internally. Of course, there is the same kind of things, right? I'm from this state, you're from this state, and sometimes there is some jokes around it. But in general, it is like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get
Yeah,
hot.
even
Yeah.
I can agree to that a little bit. But in India, we have a saying called Atiti Devo Bhava, which means guest is God. So we are very friendly and helpful to people who are not from maybe our country, and we'll help them go out of our way and help. But yeah, maybe for the locals it's not that great. But yeah, for others we would definitely go ahead and do it.
So
Is that
and
also
then-
the same in the Netherlands, Arno?
No, man, we don't have time for that bullshit. Just figure it out. Just use Google or whatever.
That's one of the culture shocks. So
Yes.
Is it though? I actually, when I've asked for help, I always got quite a lot
Yeah,
of help.
but
here in the
let's say you
Netherlands.
ask for directions, right? We just point. Yeah, like get there. You know.
Yes.
But you have to.
And sometimes they don't even point. They don't say, I don't know. And then they just
Yeah.
move on.
So you have to like really make an effort for us. Yes.
Yeah, but I still want to hear your case about for your culture.
For my culture. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we have a politically nice climate. I think that works pretty well in our country. Maybe not right now, but that's ups and downs. Let's call it like that. It's not as the US. And I think we are let people live. You know, and what I mean with that is that if you are, I don't know, have some sort of weird thing, you can just do it here. Like for Amsterdam is known for the gay capital or whatever, and we fine with it. And I think that's one of the benefits of our culture.
that's one
Because
of
that's the
the
same
reasons
thing,
why-
right? We
yeah.
just don't care. We just say like, yeah, just go there, whatever. It's the same with that. Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons for me moving here, man. So it does work because I don't know whether that's it's not advertised, right? But yeah, it's quite there in the open that people know about it. That the country
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very liberal in that sense, and yeah, that makes people feel this is a good cultural thing to accept,
Yeah.
which is not there in
Yeah.
India, unfortunately, till now. Yeah.
And I think there is another point for the Dutch culture. I think it's the pragmatism. It's a very pragmatic country. Right?
Yeah.
I really like that. But I think for some people might not be a good thing. But I think at least that's my other point for the Dutch culture.
Yeah, get to the point, cut through the
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. Especially at work environment. Like,
Yeah.
because, yeah. We can get that into later. I still want to hear Pancho and Ankita about
Yes.
what is your...
Oh, Ankita, you're our guest, so by all means, go.
Yeah, what do I need to
first.
answer?
What is
I
the
think
good
the
thing
question-
about the Indian culture?
Does
Yeah.
food count?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
sure.
that was for
So-
Holland as well. Come on, man.
No, man.
It's
doesn't
a
count.
mediocre one.
No, for India, I think you can have, because it's so big, if you start with the very first meal of your day, you can have it in different cuisines. So the South Indian, the Eastern Indian, Western, Northern, Central. It's very diverse and very vegetarian as well. But yeah, I think that's the thing that I like the most. Apart from that, there are people who are very helpful. But yeah, there are people who would just would want to poke in your life. That's not the trait that I like.
We are talking about the good things, huh?
We can handle the bad things, you know.
Yeah,
So the good thing is the food. Basically,
the
that's what you're
food,
saying.
the weather, the diversity in the weather as well. So if you want mountains, snow, beaches, we have everything, man. It's like one country where you can experience even
Well,
I
summer
gotta
and
be honest,
winter.
Ankita. You're not selling it. You're not selling it. You
No?
have to improve on this. No, maybe we should go back
No.
to Panche first, and then you can think about it because this is,
Sure.
You're going to make a lot of Indians upset after this talk.
I'll think about it.
So if I have to think, if I have to think about Macedonia, the things that are quite interesting and peculiar about the culture is, well, the food is definitely one of the things. Like if there is something about food, yeah, definitely good food. And other thing that maybe other cultures are not so, it's very family centric. So you do quite a lot of activities with your family, and in that sense also with your broader family. And if you're lucky enough to have that,
so is that the reason why you went to
Is a brother
Holland?
family?
That was a cheap shot, but no, that's actually one of the aspects that I really miss in Holland, and I'm hoping to influence my surrounding with actually going more to a family-centric behavior, maybe family-centric values.
I have a question around that. Is because I think in Brazil, maybe that's just because I don't maybe value that much, but it's like we also kind of the same, but they also quite poke a lot on your business, right? Is that the same in Macedonia?
Well, it depends what you mean by poke about your business, and depends like how you do it. Like
Let's say
definitely-
you have a trouble in your marriage, and they're gonna talk about like it's their life.
Well,
Looks like yes.
If it's
it's
taking
not
that
a-
much
it's not
time,
a
it's a
simple
yes,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a simple yes, because then if you are very family centric and if you have a trouble in any aspect of your life, then also that influences your other family members. So obviously they care about you and they want to try to see what's going on and try to help you. So I don't
Okay.
I think you see it more from poking in your business, maybe from a negative aspect, and I actually don't see it
Correct,
as,
yeah.
as a
Yeah.
negative one.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The idea is essentially, it's a large support group, and those are the people that probably have the best intentions for you. Well, sometimes that's helpful, and sometimes, it can be not so helpful.
Okay.
But yeah,
So shall we go back to India?
Okay,
so Arno,
Yeah.
I think we should
we
go.
can
No,
go to
wait,
India.
man.
Yeah.
I think we should give Ankita a new chance because it didn't work out so well.
I think I did my best in the first turn,
Ah.
but I will try it again.
Make a
I
sales
would-
pitch, man. Why should I
Hands,
go there?
no, hands down, I'm gonna say, dude, if I liked India that much, I would not have moved. So,
Yeah, Dutch
But-
culture. There we go.
yeah, but I do plan on moving back maybe sometime in the future if those things are corrected, or if I live in a different city. But hands down, I would say food first. Echoing on what
So that's it.
Panche said, very family driven, or all the activities, or even marriages, or anything it's on a grand scale, and it's beautiful to be a part of that, unless people start asking you when are you getting married. So unless it's become unless it becomes about you do love the stuff that we do, the festivities. We have so many and so many occasions to gather, or the families to come together and spend time. But unless you end up answering those questions, it's all good. So festivals,
So by the sound of it, you actually like asking those questions yourself, but you don't like being the one being asked.
No, I don't ask. Neither I love to answer them,
Oh,
but that depends. Yeah, that's because, because India is not open in the homosexuality department till now. Because there is progress there, but it's not as open as the Dutch
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
other European countries,
No.
or other countries in the world.
Well, I
But
would say
if that
probably
happens, I will
Netherlands
be more happy to live there. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Also, you are not here in the Netherlands for the Dutch food, then.
No.
Such a disappointment, man.
Oh.
I'm still searching for the expat that actually is here for the food.
So we now we talked about what is really good about our own cultures. Actually, did Arno say it? What did Arno say about that? Did Arno go
Well,
about Netherlands?
pragmatism
Oh,
and was the
Acceptance,
the
man.
thing about acceptance. Wow, I would use the word tolerance.
Tolerance. Yeah, that's better.
Then let's do another exercise.
Oh boy.
Can we, each of us, like based on what we know about each other's cultures, can we name also a good thing about each other's cultures?
Yes.
Macedonia? I don't
So
even know
I'm-
where it is, man, on the map.
That's what you need to say. So maybe the good thing is, hey, I get to explore geography.
Ah. Let's go with that.
Well, I can start. So I think the good thing I like about the Dutch, and I mentioned before, is definitely the pragmatism. I think they are, but this pragmatism is like a sword, right? It cuts in both sides. Sometimes it's just way too pragmatic to my taste. But it's definitely one thing that I like it a lot. The tolerance. I think the work culture is great, right? It's just like they do work very well, and the time they work, You know, there's not that much of noise in between. And I think to me, the Indian culture, I work with a lot of Indians. Now actually working with Ankita a few times is, I don't know, I identify with them. Like we get along very well. I like them, they like me. But it's what I found hard sometimes is to understand if they actually mean what they say. But besides that, I think the friendless, they are extremely friendly, you know, and they try to bring me to Indian restaurants, and they try to bring me to their culture, and they try to explain to me how things work, and they do that head shaking thing that I still don't understand, but like it's always great. I have a great time with them. And the Macedonia, you are the only goddamn Macedonian I know, so
You've been
it's
to
quite hard
Macedonia.
to say. So yeah, I don't know much about Macedonia besides Punch and. Well,
You've
I've
been to
there.
Macedonia.
Yeah, it's your wedding. Doesn't count. So, but it was great. So I will maybe that's my homework. I need to get to know more Macedonian.
Oh, look at that.
So now is the time you guys compliment Brazil a lot.
Well, okay, maybe I can go there and start with that. But Brazil, well, one of the first people when I came to the Netherlands, one of the first people that I had, and one of my roommates was actually a Brazilian. So shout out to Marcelo with this one. And then after that, I worked with, actually for quite a while, with two Brazilians. And then I work now again with another one. So it's kind of a recognizable pattern. The thing I actually quite liked is like that I click very easily somehow with you guys, and maybe that's there is a pattern. It's kind of easy to talk to, easy to start a conversation with, easy to follow through, and genuinely people genuinely peculiar and interested in also in you, and they show you that. I really like your idea of a barbecue, of a churrasco. And
That's a culture heritage, man. Forgot about that one.
All right, there you go. Well, that's what old friends are for, to remind you of it. Thanks for introducing me to picanha, and then I guess I'm still to try the chicken hearts that I've so much heard of. So yeah, that's regarding maybe Brazil, food and really open and friendly, warm people. Then about India, I've had the pleasure of working with several people from India up until now, and I've had really positive experience. And with people that I've gotten closer to, they would, what Enrique said, like just invite you to your house, like prepare a special, get actually out of the way to prepare a special food meal. So I guess Ankita, what you said, also like food centric culture as well. So that was very. It's very nice. Generally, the experience that I've had is people, really. They sometimes feel they're not sure in the beginning how to act or how to react, and they fall some patterns in there. But once you become closer, then kind of sort of some barriers and walls on how to communicate fall down, and then it's you become really good and open friends. And about Dutch culture, well,
Where to start, huh?
where to start? Well, first of all, my wife is Dutch, so maybe that says something.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I can understand why things might be a bit weird with the Dutch culture.
Right. One thing that actually, maybe I can say something that used to annoy me in the past that I actually really like now, really like now is the focus on being organized and planning ahead. And I do remember when I first got introduced to this culture and trying to arrange things with people, it was always agendas and agendas and agendas and agendas. And you want to plan something, you plan it like 3 weeks in advance. And that was very, very not understandable at the time. But now I'm actually that person and actually quite enjoy it and like it. So that's one of the things that amongst many others, I guess, that I kind of like and enjoy.
Yeah. Ankita?
Yeah. I'll start with the Dutch first. So when I moved here, I was told, oh, Dutch people are very direct, don't mind what they're saying, but I actually like it. So gives me, makes me open up and say things directly to the face, because I couldn't do that in India. So, as you mentioned, that the people that you worked with, it's quite difficult to understand. It is difficult to understand people, and why do I keep going back to why my culture is not good? So, sorry
Yeah,
about
it's a
that.
pretty horrible sales pitch so far.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's not that I'm selling stuff here. Yeah,
Well, a little
so
bit.
quite direct and won't comment on the food, but
You won't?
no, I
Maybe you
won't.
should.
I do like cheese and I like the bread here actually. It's
There we go, man.
and it's good.
Boom
But yeah, while working, I met brilliant people who would share stuff with me as if, even if I asked for less, I used to get more. And
Don't push it. I think you're pushing too much. Arno is going to be way too inflated
Yeah.
right now.
no,
don't
but
need to, man. It's
I
already
actually
making
have
sense
had
here.
good experiences. So that's about the Dutch culture. And I like biking, so I think I fit in. And I'm quite tall for an Indian, so then I fit in as well. So yeah, I don't look like a really tall person here, thanks to your genes. Yeah, Brazilians, I've only worked with people. I've never been there. I hope that I go and dive there somewhere. But
Yeah.
very friendly. Because I've only worked with them. Very intelligent and very open. So
Did you guys listen to it?
No, hardly.
Very intelligent.
and yeah, so very open to conversation. So never felt that barrier. That yeah, I can't open up to these guys. But yeah, I think that I have with almost everyone. So I do not feel that barrier.
Okay,
to
so it's not about Brazilians, it's about you.
Yes, maybe. Yeah, can't comment on the food, man. Can't comment on the country yet. I hope that I experience more to comment more on it. Macedonian, I have a lovely friend from there, and I hope Pancha becomes my friend. But yeah, I have a coffee group. She's a part of it. I was the developer. She was the QA. So we had this. You have a hate relationship with the testing team, but
Yes.
it wasn't like that.
Love hate,
yeah.
right?
Because
So I know who to
people-
invite on the next
Symbiosis,
podcast.
we call that.
Symbiosis,
Yeah.
even, okay.
But yeah, I've had good experiences. But I do give a little bit credit to my personality there, just being very narcissistic. But I think you need to be open to let other people in, or to understand where or how you want to connect to them and respect the differences. And that's how maybe you can gel well together with. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of people from different countries. So.
I agree. I think it's an interesting point you touched there. It's just like this. If you are open, right, every culture has something to teach you somehow, right? And it's.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with this because, to be honest with you, I've never worked with a lot of Indians, just a few in the job we're at right now. So I have 3 of them, and the Macedonian one as well. The Brazilian's the same, so I don't think I'm the correct guy to ask this question.
So which one is
Well,
the
do your
best?
best.
Choose
Dutch.
it. Pick
Dutch
it.
is
Not
the
getting
best.
off easily of this.
I don't know, man.
Proves a point, right? These guys are so self-centered.
Yeah, I don't know the culture. That's it, right? I've never been to the countries.
Yeah, but how was your experience work with them? Do you see differences between work with Indians, Brazilians,
Yeah,
and
but you're the only
Macedonians?
one, so yes, I see a difference between them
Well,
and you.
okay.
Sure. What is the difference? No, maybe I shouldn't have
But
asked.
maybe
that.
this is more
Yeah,
than a
maybe you shouldn't
question,
have.
like difference between them, how to behave, and how you are. That's gonna be the thing then. I don't know if you want to go down that path.
No, not
Okay, I
at all.
thought so. So I'm changing the question. I really want to know what you guys hate of the Dutch culture, to be honest. Like, this is
We
just
don't have enough time
just
about
pick your
this.
biggest. It's always about the highest, right? Like
Okay.
something that think that this is just ridiculous. Come on.
Yeah. Can I start with this?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I have a really traumatizing story that I tell every single person about this that I meet when you talk about that culture. So I moved here in 2010 and I joined the Capoeira group. Wow, It's a Brazilian martial art. Some people call it dance, some people call it fight. Anyway, uh, in that group, was just Dutch people, the Brazilian teacher, and me was the only Brazilians in the group. And this Dutch guy organized a dinner, right? And then he invited everybody by email. But for whatever reason, I was here, didn't really speak Dutch. I would usually translate every email. For his email, I did not translate. And the translation was basically, hey, I'm organizing a dinner in 3 weeks, right? The planning thing that Punch is talking about. Let me know if you're going to join. So I didn't reply. 3 weeks came. We are there in the Capoeira group. And then suddenly somebody invited me, hey, let's go to his house. You know, like he invites everybody for a dinner, should be fine. He's listening to the conversation, this guy, and he doesn't say anything, you know? And then I was like, I don't know, I didn't reply to the invitation. And then he was like, everybody was like, come on, man, it's going to be fine, you know, like 20 people is going. And the guy was listening to this conversation. He said nothing. So I was like, okay, let's go. So we finished the training, and then he goes early to his house to organize dinner. And then everybody started going there by bike. And then I get there, and just like imagine his house is like the kitchen is in the end, and you can see the main door across it. So the moment that I step into his house, he get out of the kitchen, come passing every single one. We are talking about 20 people here. He comes to the door, look at me and say, what are you doing here? You didn't reply to my invitation, so you are not welcome. And I was like, what the fuck should I do now? Like, man, I felt so horrible, you know? And every time I tell this story to Dutch people, 50% says, of course, we did not reply the email. So what I dislike is this lack of imagination of how to be creative or flexible. You know, like they are so rigid with the plan that it's just impossible to like think outside of the box. Like, oh, maybe, yeah, if 20 people are eating, 21 can do too.
Yeah, but where's the limit, man?
That's
our
my
problem.
take.
Then it's 22, then it's 23. And where's the end? We're lost. Yeah, that's
So that's my
I
story.
kind of get it. This would be pretty awful. So you guys are still thinking?
Well, for me,
Your worst one, eh? Not all of them.
I don't know. It's not. I think it's not only with the Dutch culture, but this is what I experienced when I came here. That when you have to meet someone, you need to tell them in advance. So one is an invitation, and he couldn't reply to or didn't reply to. I think what happened to him is absolutely right. Sorry. I'm sorry, man. No. But what I experienced is that if you want to meet someone, you need to tell them in advance, and that's not the case in India. You just go as if you belong, or you make a plan at the very last minute, which doesn't happen here.
Whoa.
With a lot of people. But I've tried it with, let's say, an Egyptian friend of mine. And I just asked him, I'm like, oh, are you free in an hour and let's meet up? And he was quite surprised, but pleasantly surprised by such a short notice meet. But that doesn't happen. And I find it quite, transactional in the sense that I need to plan it. It's like, is it like a work meeting that you need to take time off? If you're just free, just come. That's something which I feel weird. But I don't think so that it's only with the Dutch culture. It might be with others as well.
Yeah, I think the Germans are even worse.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, let's attack the Germans. They are not here to defend themselves.
It's
But let's
not
put
that
them on
we
this
are
spot.
less worse, but this is something which I feel that it's different. Like just come for a movie. It's very common in India, and people join. But this is something which I feel I
Man, the
miss.
chaos.
Here. Yeah. Panche.
We call it spontaneous.
Yeah, for me this is I actually been, while you guys were talking, I've been listening and relating to basically everything you've said, but kind of I've also sympathized with it a bit from the other side. And I was wondering, oh my God, am I becoming more Dutch than the Dutchies themselves? And actually, I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. Don't judge me on it.
Well,
but,
I can if you want. I think it's a good thing.
I do miss that spontaneity, or room for being spontaneous about things.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not just a cultural thing. Maybe it's also the age, like personal age. Like when you grow up, you have kids. You have to plan on things a lot more than we used to in the past. but that is definitely something uh, that I kind of miss from time to time. Just
Yeah.
let the world happen to you.
And the funny thing is, it
Instead of-
even
yeah.
annoys me sometimes. Did you know that? Because
No.
when I had,
No.
well, when my wife was still my girlfriend, like in the beginning, let's say, I would just think, yeah, it's Friday, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock, driving home from work, and I would just call her up. Yeah, shall we go out to dinner? And she would be like completely confused, you know. And she would
Yeah.
say some stuff like, "Yeah, well, we're gonna eat, I don't know, pasta or something." I'm like, "Yeah, we
I
can
already
also eat
planned
that
it.
tomorrow, right?" And then she's like,
Oh, you're a victim of your own culture, man.
"I'm a victim of our own." And I was like, and I tried it a few
So that-
times. It just didn't work, you know. She was only. I got her to the restaurant, but then I was like, yeah, she still feel a bit awkward or something. And, so I solved it. Then I usually called her at 12 on the same day, like, yeah, shall we go out to dinner tonight? And I was like, and then wait for a few hours. And I even tell her, like, yeah, I'll call you back in a few hours so you can think about it. And then
Yeah, so you also think that's a bit too much, right? On
well,
this,
it depends, right? It has its benefits and its downsides because, well,
Yeah,
because in a work-related place, it's pretty nice.
yeah, I agree.
So you start.
Yeah, but that's
feeling-
that's my thing with Holland, right? It's like a love and hate relationship. Like I love how organized, but I also hate
Yeah.
how organized. It just like it's somehow weird, like to find the balance between these two
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Well, it's like the way I thought is like, okay, Netherlands perfect, Monday to Friday perfect for Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday, no, sorry, no.
Well,
Yeah,
it depends
exactly.
what you have planned, right? We have some good parties, you know, trends and stuff like that.
Well,
Very big at it.
That's a nice one. I have a question for each and every one of you. Can you name some stereotypes of your own culture that you disagree with? One that you disagree and one that you agree. Let's say.
Well, I think there is this stereotype about Brazilians that they are all like a negative stereotype, I would say, that they are all like, if for women especially, that they're always lots and everything. I think that's a very bad stereotype that I definitely disagree with. There is this stereotype that I heard several times since I'm here. You know, like I practice capoeira, I join a lot of activities, sport related. And then somebody just gives me a drum and then say, hey, you should play this. You are Brazilian, right? And they give me like a saxophone. Hey, you should play this because you're Brazilian, right? Like they think that Brazilians can play every single instrument. They think Brazilians can play football. It's like, I think it's a stereotype that is quite nice, but I don't think it holds it true. Yeah, that's my take on the stereotype part.
Actually, I've met a Brazilian that couldn't play football, so yeah, that's correct.
And was he from Argentina?
He was from Brasilia, actually, from the capital of Brazil.
Yeah, but he was very friendly, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's. Arno?
Yeah,
Dutch people are tall. You agree or disagree?
yeah, we're tall, definitely. That's I agree on that. That's the easy one. And I think
I keep
yeah,
keep hearing jokes about that.
kind of makes sense, right? Once you live here, then that's it. But like, yeah, I think yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the perception of being rude to people. That's our stereotype, I think.
So you think it's not true?
Knowing you and you think that's not true?
It's a perception, guys.
That's a stretch right now.
You're pushing the boundaries.
I don't think it's always true. It comes out very aggressive and rude, maybe for the rest of the world. But I don't think it's that bad.
I think we had this discussion before, right? Like when they become very
Yeah.
direct, I think for Dutch people this is just like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. But I think for expats, and it's definitely like, okay, these people are just rude. But I think Dutch people don't perceive
No.
them as being rude. It's just like, yeah, these people are direct.
And I'm saying it's good, right? It's also about the negative thing. I've learned it myself. You know,
Yeah.
if I am with a different culture, it should be different, and I have a really hard time with that. But that's okay, I guess. I'm learning.
Okay. And Ankita? Something that you like, some stereotype that you like about India, and some stereotype that you don't
About
like
India or
disagree about?
Indians? About India, I can say that we don't have elephants on all roads. We do have on some, might have on some, but that's something which is not right. And about people, that everybody doesn't have the weird nod. I know that this doesn't translate to a yes or a no, but most of the people have it. Not everybody.
Do you
No.
have it?
I won't nod.
Why is
huh?
it actually?
Sorry?
So where is it
Where's
coming
that
from?
coming from?
Yeah, it's like yeah, I think it's unconscious, but like, yeah, you do it when you do not want to say yes or a no. But I'll tell you, it translates to a lot of things.
By the way, she just did it. For you guys who are not seeing the video, she's
But
actually
don't worry,
I
we're
know
gonna
how
edit
to
this
do
and
it.
highlight it.
But now I don't do it, or yeah, maybe I will. Yeah, now I know how it's perceived. But it's perceived in a lot of ways. Huh? I can share that video on YouTube. It can be a yes or a no, or I agree, don't agree, but it's quite funny.
So basically, a
So
conversation
can you
goer.
actually,
Yeah. I
Can
think
you-
we say yes to a lot of things. If you say, "Oh, can you do this?" Maybe an Indian would just say yes, yes, yes. So
Yes, I think that's the
yeah.
problem.
Uh,
I wouldn't say a problem, but a culture shock I have
no,
with
no,
them.
no. Yeah, I agree. If you ask them very confidently, they might just say yes, and then think about, okay, what did I say yes to? But the answer would be yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it's not there with everyone.
So
So yeah, we should not have stereotypes. But yeah, this is one thing. The stereotype that I like.
that you all do meditation and yoga.
We do.
And eat curry.
Most of us do.
really?
Yeah, I think at some
Wow.
point of our life we would have done it. So I used to do it when I was in school. It was a part of our school curriculum.
Oh, really? That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
I've tried meditation a couple of times. I do all the other weird stuff with yoga. I did share it with Bas sometime. But
Separate podcast, I think. for this.
separate podcast, yeah. But yeah, that's something Anik did ask me, oh, do you do it? But yeah, I think everybody's at some point in their life did it as a school thing or being curious about it. But yeah, most of
I
us
think that's pretty
do
nice.
not do it
actually.
like the foreigners do. They might take it very seriously. Yeah, if it's homegrown, we don't actually value it, right? So
Indeed.
Yeah.
Panchai.
Panche.
For me, right. So there is one. I think it was also mentioned during this podcast. It's like, okay, do you fight with your neighbor countries and with neighbor cultures? And that happens so often, and maybe I've kind of gotten annoyed about it, like getting that sort of questions. Do you hate the Greeks or do you hate the Bulgarians? Like, oh, not really. And I don't really agree to that. And then there is another also. Everybody wants to talk about history, and then it's like, yeah, there are periods when people really engage in like discussions about history, who happened, who got what, who did what, when, where. But I think that's a very loud minority of people that actually do that.
But they were at
Most
war,
people,
no?
like, yeah.
They had a war. They had to fight. Like, not long ago.
Who did not have a war in the
Yeah, yeah,
Balkans in the last, I don't know, 50 years?
Yeah, but that's the difference, right? Because for me, it faded away because I'm a new generation, let's call it like that. It's too far away, the Second World War for Germany. Now we just have the jokes
Yeah.
left. But you actually lived in Yugoslavia, and so you saw it more up close,
Well-
I would say. Up close, whatever that
yeah,
may
well,
be.
Macedonia was not really directly involved in some of those wars. Then we had some military conflict in 2001, so we've seen it, right? That's not really a reason to don't like the people or hate the people. And I mean, those wars were messy in its own right, and I don't think, well, now to summarize that in a sentence or a few, that's gonna do it just. But it doesn't mean that you really dislike the people or something. There are people, and in each country, in each culture, you have people that have messed up thoughts and messed up opinions, and that are willing to pick up a fight. And sometimes they are the ones that have the microphone or have the guns.
Yeah, but so what is the stereotype then? Of the country Macedonia?
Well, the stereotype is that we actually are passionate about this, that we're passionate about history, or passionate
Okay.
about these fights, and no, not really, not always, not. Yeah, there are people that there are, and maybe
Do-
another one that I actually like. Yeah, that everything is about food, and actually kind of, I'm in love-hate relationship with that one. I actually like the food family-centric culture, but it can, yeah, when you get offered like 5 times after you said 6 times no, you get offered again the same thing. And it's like right there on the table. If I want it, I can pick it. You don't have to put it under my nose. Just let me eat. But on the other
So-
hand, it's like it's good. People take care of it.
And then if I ask you, like, of course, this question goes to all of you. If you have to give a tip for a next spot that is going to deal with, any nationality like Dutch, Indian, and Macedonian in this case, what would be the tip? Like, if you want to get this person on your side, do this. Like,
Find a bottle of rakia and give them a bottle of rakia. That's it.
then it's sold. I can get a
That's
Macedonian
sold.
on my side.
Yeah, or a jar of Ivar, like one of those. One of those or both two. It's like perfect combination.
Can we buy them in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the Indians and the Dutch.
No,
I'm going to
not
tell you about the
thinking of,
Brazilians.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
waiting for Ankita.
No, go
actually.
ahead.
Oh no, I would say start a discussion about food. I think you'll get to hear a lot. Maybe you might not be able to understand everything, but yeah, I think most of the people from India would be very passionate about eating. So they would share a lot, and that's
Okay.
maybe where you can connect. As Anik said, they take you to restaurants because they're very kind of proud of it or they really like it. So that's one way to connect. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, complain about the weather. All Dutch people love that.
Oh, that's a true. Oh man,
We
that's
all
very
love
true.
that. I don't know why, but we all love that. So I think that's. And they will also love you if you schedule things in advance, like 3 weeks preferably. then you're good, man.
To have this to schedule the complaints about the weather.
Well, it's both ways, right? So the complaints about the weather you can do everywhere with everyone, but the schedule's
Anytime,
not.
doesn't matter if it's
Doesn't
sunny.
matter. The sun is too
Yeah.
warm, or there's hay fever,
Yeah.
or whatever. I can think of anything every day, so that's okay.
That is true. Okay.
All right.
And like, what guys would you say? Like, maybe like how many cultures did you work or live with? Like, what is do you have a favorite? Like with people, like, okay, man, if that's the culture of this guy, I'm automatically like, I know how to deal with it. It's gonna be like a blast. And maybe one that you always find a bit tricky.
Ooh.
Well, like for example, I worked with a lot of Ukrainians.
Oh.
I like them a lot, but I always found hard to read them. I just cannot read them. I just don't know if they are happy with me or sad with me, or if I said something right, if I said something wrong. It's always so tricky, and I just don't know.
Yeah, but they're definitely fun to go out with. Also a bit tricky.
Oh yes,
I did.
always a
I
bit
worked with a few
tricky.
Ukrainians as
but
well.
yeah.
Perfect night, but you have to leave before they do. Actually, that was my advice.
And I think if I would say like my favorite one that I like to work, I think I enjoy working with the Dutch people, and I guess that's the reason why I'm living in the Netherlands. And living with them, I experienced a few different cultures, but a Chinese was actually pretty interesting. Do you guys have a preference?
Yeah,
On
I'm trying to
cultures?
I'm,
Oh,
trying
Panchi,
to
you live with a
think
Dutch
about it.
girl, right? A woman. So I wonder how you. No?
How what? I don't know.
How you perceive
do you
that?
wonder?
A bit on the same question side.
You might listen to this, so
Oh.
be careful.
Yeah, I need to choose my words carefully. I don't know. Like in the beginning, like I said, it was quite difficult to get adjusted to our
Oh.
personal quirks. But the thing is, for me was, and I think still is, difficult to distinguish what is a personal trait and what is a cultural
Yeah.
trait.
True.
and that like intermings. And what makes it also more challenging in our case is because we lived together. Like the first time we actually lived together was in Macedonia. So we lived together in Macedonia for 5-6 years. So like she had to adjust to the norm and culture there and accept that. And then we moved to the Netherlands, and then I had to do that here. So I think our relationship has been very respectful in the sense that we kind of both appreciate our separate cultures and kind of know what triggers us, what we.
But
value,
how did you get a
because
date
we-
actually? Did you just schedule in
I did-
advance, or did she wing it? Like, you want to go on a date? Yeah,
Let
sure.
me
3
think.
weeks. Sounds good.
It was actually more like a week in advance.
Okay,
But
yeah, that's achievable, I guess.
Yeah, true. But then we had a lot of this like planning, and she was very irritated in the beginning with me. Like, okay, let's do this in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh no, I'm not booking in 2 weeks. Maybe something else more interesting comes along.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not like that anymore.
Okay. But like, so do you guys have a preferred nationality that you think is just easy to work with?
Dutch people, for
To
sure.
work or to deal with. I don't
Well,
know. Maybe our
both.
choice to live in the Netherlands says something about that.
Yeah, but even
I don't
being
know
in the
if that's-
Netherlands,
yeah, I
I've
don't know if
worked
it-
more with, I think I've worked more with Brazilians, if I'm not wrong. Maybe there are too many of them here.
Whoa.
Do-
I just hope you're gonna say that I actually like.
No, I do. So yeah, because I worked in India, I used to work with Indians. So after moving out, I've worked most with the Brazilians. Yeah, I've worked with South Africans, French, a lot of other nationalities as well. But I do like working with Brazilians because it is very easy, and yeah,
You're welcome.
it has helped me improve as well. So I have my selfish motives behind everything, and yeah, I don't think so. I have a nationality which I won't work with, but maybe I want to work with more nationalities than Indian to get to know
Yeah.
more. Yeah, I mean, if I get to work with same kind of people that I've worked with, I feel no difference even while moving a country. So because I've worked with them a lot, if I come here and work with a lot of Indians, I feel the environment becomes the same if they're the same kinds. So I need to widen my experience with other nationalities to get to form an opinion.
Yeah.
For me, I don't really have. I don't really think I have a preference. It boils down to, when it comes to work, it boils down basically to the personality of the people, more than their cultural background, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, as long as if the person is open, direct, doesn't play politics behind, it's like hardworking. It's like, yeah, we'll get along perfectly fine.
Dutch culture. Check.
And we've been recording now for 50 plus minutes. I have one last question, I think. Have you experienced a behavior of somebody from another culture at work that you found maybe peculiar?
Can you
These are-
define peculiar?
Well, interesting, or something that was not that's out of the ordinary, that's unique.
To be honest, I cannot answer it. I just don't know enough from a different culture perspective. It's just a person, right?
I
Is
mean,
it a
you
person thing, as a personal trait, or as a cultural trait? I don't know.
No, that's a good point. I don't know about work, but I definitely had, that's a tricky one, because indeed, I don't know if it's the culture or is the person per se. But I did experience, that's a horrible story, but I'm not sure if I should
I
share.
think you should.
That's
But
what
like-
we're here for. No names.
So-
just
No names, of course, but like, so this Dutch guy would, the culture is important, but he would have breakfast, eat cereals in the morning in the toilet with the door open.
I don't think that's culture.
And
man.
I was like, is
No.
that culture or is that his personality? Okay, just so that's the only thing I have to say.
But it is an interesting advice, you know. Maybe it's,
I mean, it's quite pragmatic, so I thought it was a Dutch culture.
it's a bucket list thing. I
And
think.
how do you know this?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know this that he's?
Yeah, I was living together.
Did he
so
invite you
it's,
there as well? Like, let's eat together.
No, but the thing is, well, the door was open, so he would pass. He would be like eating cereals, doing whatever he was doing, sitting in the toilet, reading a magazine, and then say, "Hey, good morning."
Maybe he invited and he didn't respond to the email. So
There is a chance.
I don't know whether that's related or not, but what I found interesting was when I was made aware or to be prepared to work with Dutch people. When people told me, oh, they're very direct, I liked it. I don't know why people perceive it to be like a thing which you should be prepared for before you go into a meeting. I don't know why that happens, but I do like it. So just wanted to put it in there. Brownie points for Arno.
Well,
Yeah.
I heard stories about like that they basically went like with a friend of mine and they just went to the elevator and then the Dutch guy looked at her and said like, "Oh, you look fat. What's happening?" You know, and it's been direct, but I think it's just
I think that's rude, man.
why?
I think that's a border there.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
also
so those kind of things.
depends what the nature of their relationship was. Yeah?
Work.
Oh, okay.
But even then, you know,
There you go.
that's a
So,
stretch.
Yeah, that's a bit, yeah. All right. Then maybe we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
I want to thank you all for joining this podcast. Rolf, you were missed or not. I guess the rest can judge. I hope Ben's birthday party was a blast. Ankita, thank you really for brightening our day and our podcast and being our wonderful guest. Hope you can join us in the future. Maybe we talk about about another
Yes,
topic.
I would love to.
And,
Thank you for inviting.
all
I had a
right.
blast. Yeah.
Yes. Great.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Arno and Higa, thanks. And to our listeners, subscribe to our podcast and listen to us every week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Scoutcast Roasting Marshmallows with your host, Rolf Surd. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit 4scouts.nl and on Twitter @4scouts. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Scoutcast Roasting Marshmallows.